Richard Gladwell here for SAR World, here with Pete Melvin at the end of the A-Class Cat Worlds. How did you go, Pete?
Kind of mixed results. I was trying a new rig I developed and proved to be extremely quick upwind, but not so great downwind. So my results weren't quite what I wanted, but still a great opportunity to come over here and learn not only how my stuff was doing, but see all the new developments in the class with the foils and the techniques that are developing. So definitely a worthwhile event and a fantastic time.
So you're one of probably the great fiddlers in the class. What do you think of the foils and the way that the whole class is developing, the direction it's taking?
Yeah, well, clearly the performance is way up. I mean, guys are putting hundreds of meters on those of us that don't have the latest generation of lifting foils downwind. But it remains to be seen whether it'll make the class more popular. You have to think about the guys back in your home fleets, but a lot of them are pretty game and great sailors too. So it's not clear whether the rest of the class around the world will think those developments are beneficial or not. But I think the level of the class is certainly way up, and that's great to see.
So how does this foiling technology relate to AC72s?
I think a lot of these catamaran classes that are learning from what happened in the last America's Cup and developing that technology around the individual classes. The A class has its own particular set of rules, which sort of prohibit the specific type of foils we had on the 72s, but it kind of got the wheels turning. I think a lot of people, and every class that's tried foiling so far has made it work pretty well. For instance, the A class is now clearly faster. It used to be you'd have to have, say, 15 knots of wind to really make it work, and now the guys are making it work down to 10 or 11 knots. It's just amazing. Same thing happened in the C class cats last summer with the Little America's Cup. So it seems like if you work on it, you can get the hull, the resistance of the hull down, and the foil takes over, and it's just a lot less drag, and you end up going faster and lower, and it's just deadly. So.
But it looked extremely challenging to sail, which is pretty great for a single-hander.
Yeah. The way the rules are right now, you can't really, if you had the freedom to design whatever foil you wanted, we'd probably be up flying, very stable like the 72s were. But the way the rules work, you don't quite have enough lift, and the configuration isn't that stable. So it is, quite challenging to sail the boat.
Is it worth as the next generation to actually, just look at it and say, look, we're going to have foils in this boat, in this class. How's the simplest way to do it, and probably the cheapest?
Yeah, for now, we had a meeting a few nights ago, and the class membership decided to keep the rules as they are, which some people think is a good thing, and some people don't. Obviously, you're going to get opinions across the board, but it is still possible to foil, and I think a lot of people here are going to go back to their home sailing spots and keep developing the system. It'll get better and better. Just in the last year or so, it's come a long way. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to the next Worlds.
Why didn't you turn up here with foils?
That's a good question. I had intended to, but I just ran out of time. Honestly, I could have bought a set of the DNA foils, which are really nice, and installed those in my boat, but it would have taken 3 or 4 days, and I thought I needed the sailing time more than I needed and also I was developing the new rig, and I just it would have been too much. So I figured there was a lot of people working on foils, and I would work on the aerodynamic part of the equation. So for this go around.
So how did that work out for you in terms of the rigs and sails?
Yeah, as I said earlier, it proved to be very fast. I've never been faster upwind in an A-Cat. Quite a bit slower than I'm used to going downwind. So the sail, the rig didn't really power up like I wanted it to downwind. And after sailing in the nationals and the worlds now, I think I understand why, and so I'm going to go back and develop that some more. I think there's quite a bit of gain to be made from that. So it's another development in the class that I think we'll see more of in the future.
Does there have to be much interaction there with the rig and the foiling package? I mean, would you design a rig specifically for a foiler, or could you just get away with the same one that you're using in your regular boat?
Yeah, great question. I think there is. Once you get up on the foils, your apparent wind goes way forward, so you do want a rig that starts to look more like an upwind rig. So I think if I had the foiling package like the faster guys did at this regatta, maybe my rig would have been a little bit better than it was, but it still needs more development.
You're going to be fitting foils when you get home?
Absolutely.
So what are you going for, the C foil?
I've got C foils right now, but they're not really capable of sustained flight like the more J style foils some of the guys have. So yeah, I'll be looking into getting something like the J foils, do some analysis first, and maybe design something new or buy something off the shelf if I don't think there's much improvement to be made.
Just switching to America's Cup, what rule changes do you think are sort of really practical after what we saw on the AC35s? I mean, we all know the way the foiling thing developed, and it was a bit of a workaround through a loophole.
Right.
What should happen with that in the future?
Well, I'm working on the team that's developing the concept and the rules again this time, and we're looking at first of all making the boats smaller and more affordable, but also allowing more degrees of freedom to move the foils. For instance, I think we'll allow the rudders you can rake your rudders so you can change your elevator angles between upwind and downwind. That was a bit of a compromise last time. And as far as the foils themselves go, it'll be similar to last time. We're still working through that to try to determine what degrees of freedom make the most sense from a practicality, cost, and performance standpoint. But may not be too much different from last time.
But that then, when you get into a smaller boat, implies you've got to still have that manually provided hydraulic power, which would seem to be a bit of a limiter.
Yeah, I think the boats will still need to be powered manually, one way or the other. We may allow some small amount of stored energy, but the grinders will have to create that energy. They won't be available, say, from batteries or combustion engines or anything like that. But so if you're allowed to store some energy, say in a hydraulic accumulator or something, it'll just smooth out the peaks, because the grinders at maneuvers, mark roundings, things like that, their energy workload really peaked. And if you could have a little bit of energy in reserve for that would be a good thing, both for better maneuvers, but also for safety. There's a drive to reduce cost and number of crew, so that would help on that end, where you wouldn't need quite as many people for the peak energy loads at maneuvers and mark roundings.
But the issue with that, of course, is that when you've got the likes of Oracle saying that they had all their crew grinding 100% right through the race to give them energy, and you go in with a smaller crew, where does the slack come from?
Well, if you look at the energy use profile from last time, there were some very big peaks, and I think even their system upwind, the grinders were working, but it wasn't on the upwind legs, but it wasn't anywhere near what the peak loads were. So the upwind may not change very much, because you'll have to kind of continually grind, but it'll be easier at the other times.
Is there an option to supply a one design hydraulic system in there for everyone?
Someone would have to design that system, and then all the detailed specifications would need to be specified for the rule, and at this time we're not really prepared to do that. I mean, the rule is supposed to be published next month, so that won't happen. But that's neither here nor there. But I don't think it will be a sort of a one design hydraulic system. Some components may be specified as stock components. Say the accumulators or something like that, just so everyone's got the same amount of volume and pressure available. Last time the components had to be approved by the measurement committee, and I think it'll be a similar type of situation next time.
A lot of the issues that were raised last time related to the difficulty in launching those boats and the number of people involved and that sort of thing. Have you given any thought on that rule to how you're going to cut that down or make it easier?
Yeah, well, I think just the boats being smaller will be a huge step forward in that direction. If you look at how many people are required to launch an AC35, which is almost the same style of boat with a wing and so on, they got that down to about 6 people. And so we're looking at boats in the 60 to 65 foot range, and they'll be about 2/3 the riding moment or half the riding moment of a 72, and quite a bit lighter and smaller. So I think the number of shore crew and people required to launch the boats will be far less than last time.
So what does that relate to in terms of boat speed then? Are we seeing the same speeds or slower?
Yeah, we've been doing quite a bit of performance analysis on the new candidate boats, and one of the goals that we sort of set early on or given to us were that the new boats should be no less than about 10% slower than the 72s. And it looks like that's quite possible with these smaller boats. They're actually not much slower downwind. The upwind performance drops off a little bit, but and still should be foiling, possible to foil both downwind and upwind. So retaining a lot of the excitement and visual qualities of the 72s.
So when you talk about those reduced speeds, I mean, what are you talking about in real knots?
Oh, and not well. We're kind of looking at times around the course, but and it should be within, say, 10% of the 72. So not almost not noticeable by the human eye, really. And the smaller boats will probably actually appear to be going faster than the 72s. So visually, it should be quite good.
Do you think one design elements can really work in those boats?
We've looked into that quite a bit, initially we were trying to implement as many one design elements as possible, but for a variety of reasons, we looked at the platform, wing, appendages, those sort of things, and it seems feasible to make the wing fairly one design, but the other components, for instance, the foiling is such an area of development. We hate to shortcut that and specify that everyone had the same foils, for instance. And each boat you tried on, whether it's an A-Class or an AC72 or a C-Class AC45, there's an element of design and an analysis with the foils, but you also have to go sailing. There's a trade-off between drag and stability, and I think you really have to sail the boat in a variety of conditions to really understand where the best trade-off is. So if as the rule writing team, if we had to design a foil today, we could design something, but it may not be the optimum. And as we saw last time in the 72s, both the equipment and the techniques, developed, quite a bit last time. And the boats were going, 20% or more faster than when they were first launched. So, it'd be, I think, difficult to know exactly how the boats are going to be sailed, several years from now. And So we'd like to let the teams continue to develop the appendage package a little bit more. The wings, there didn't seem to be a lot in the wing performance between the different designs last time, so that's why we're looking at making the wings one design. It's an area where the teams put in, spend a lot of resources, both in design and construction, and there we don't think there was a lot of performance gain per dollar, however you want to look at that, between the different wings. So we could save a lot of costs that way.
So when you talk about one design wing, does that also mean having it done by a common manufacturer and supplied as a part?
I think it'll be a one design shape, center of gravity, weight, although we're still working through the details of that. So, then the teams can have their wings, manufactured wherever they like. I'm not involved with the protocol, but I imagine it'll be similar to last time, where there'll be some amount of design sharing, so several teams, for instance, could get together and share their design, or even not. If a manufacturer has tooling, the wing will be fairly tightly controlled shape-wise, so the same tooling could be used by multiple teams, so that should save some costs.
So how are you going to get around measurement issues with those wings? Because they're incredibly complex structures, and normally when you put a design rule in say it's a one design part, you then put a tolerance in, which then means that everyone just goes for the tolerance to build a better mousetrap.
Right.
How do you stop that? Because that doesn't really curtail any design work, it just creates it in a new area.
Yeah, well, hopefully the tolerances will be small enough where, going to one edge of the tolerance to the other, I don't really know yet, but probably won't matter very much. Just seeing how diverse the wing designs were last time and how little difference it really made. But in any case, we're working with the measurement committee to determine. We're writing the rules, getting input from the measurement committee and the other teams, and so hopefully we'll have a good, repeatable, easily done measurement system, and the rules will be configured so that it will be as simple and easy as possible to measure the wings.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.